All right. Yeah. So we um we realize that people are coming into this information so fast that they end up not going through the 25 classes, right? So it throws off their perspective, which this being in this realm is really about perspective. Being in this realm is really about you being able to ingest this information, and then for yourself, what is manifest to you from your own five senses, right? And that's supposed to correlate with other people's perspective because we're studying the same info. So if we're studying the same info, there shouldn't be, you know, not necessarily disagreements, but everything should be aligned with everybody who's studying the same info. Like everybody who knows punch, everybody knows punch at the same time. Everybody's wrist is the same. Everybody's posture is the same. Leg work is the same. Everything's the same with them, right? So we wanna to present the moral aspect of what this is, so that could be people's template from the start. You have to guess, you have to figure out, well, how are we gonna, I'm a moral, what should I, based on this standard of principles, based on understanding morality, right? We will be able to become moralists, right? So this is the final stage of the 25 classes, right? After the 25 classes, you should be able to qualify yourself as a moralist. And being that you're a moralist, that means that, there's no second guessing things. There's no leaving things up to assumptions. There's no misconcepts, right? There's no be a parrot to somebody because they have superior knowledge, and you think that you don't because you only studied 1 year and that guy studied 10 years, so 10's more than 1, so that guy has to know more than me. But if that guy's moral compass is freaking going like this, then that 10 years could be nothing. Next to that one guy's 1 year where he's been going hard from one perspective for a year. No questions asked, no, other influences coming in and influencing decisions, when as moralists, everything that you have here supposed to be what's gonna manifest. Whether it's positive or negative, that's up to the individual's thought processing, right? No, it might be negative stuff that manifests, right? It might not be positive things, right? So each individual, after going through the 25 classes, should be, based on the information that was presented in the classes, that individual should be able to stand on their square for something relative to Moorish. We're not even going to say what. Something in the sphere of Moorish history, culture, or whatever. After 25 classes, there's something that you should be okay. That thing, I'm firm on that. And then you could use that as your first step to build your pyramid, right? So we want to, if we can get a couple dictionaries, we need moral, or anything related to moral. Anything relative to that. So moralize, moralist, moralism, etc. You got moral?
Pertains to character, conduct, intention, social relations, etc.
Character, intentions, conduct,
social relations. There's a couple more. Pertaining or relating to the conscience or moral sense, or to the general principles of right conduct. Cognizable or enforceable only by the conscience or by the principles of right conduct, as distinguished from positive law. Depending upon or resulting from probability, raising a belief or conviction in the mind independent of strict or logical proof. Involving or affecting the moral sense, as in the phrase moral insanity.
Alright, so, and that was law dictionary, right? So moral has also a connection with law as far as definition, right? So from the law dictionary, we get conduct, right? And then we'll relate this to the teachings in our Quran about the tools in the workshop of the mind, right? And squaring your conduct, making sure your conduct is square, right? So we know that that has an aspect of Moorist science, because this word right here, conduct, is addressed in our literature by Noble Drew Ali. So we know that we can ride with this. Alright? Character. Right? This is in the literature. Okay? Right. Conscience. Principles. Right? Sense. All these things are things relative to where Noble Drew Ali was trying to get us to go by giving us the lessons of Yahshua's life when he was amongst the sages, to understand how his conduct was when he was around them. You know what I mean? How was his character building? If you just listen to what they say in King James Version or whatever, you think that he's high and mighty, all and be all, nobody else comes before him. But then when you look into the 18 years of his life, you look into where he went to study and all that stuff, you realize that he was under supreme humility, because he looked at it as big deal for him to be learning under the sages. But the sages are looking at it like, oh, big deal, we're getting to teach you or whatever. Right? Social relations. Right? Drew Ali again, telling us to make sure that we talk in an intelligent tone. Right? That intelligent tone is going to make us have positive social relations with other people. Because majority of the people who make the claim that, racism and etc. is because they have horrible social relations. And then they try to impose that on other people. when it's really them, the individual. The individual not coming to the realization that they're in the wrong. Right? Even though the atmosphere of social relations should let them know that something's wrong. Right? Like, and then again, especially when we look at other societies that have these relations and not go through what we go through. There's obviously something wrong with our perspective of how stuff is and the perspective that everybody else has about how stuff is, right? So not only are we looking at conduct, but we're looking at right conduct, a specific kind of conduct, for us to be on this level of moralists, right? Our conduct has to be right. So like we're talking about the we're talking about people who have an issue. Somebody has an issue, and then they say, well, based on this issue and based on where I am, I'm going to deal with this as a moral. Okay, well, how this issue came about? Well, 10 years ago when I was whatever like that, and then because, and then now I'm going to do it this way. Well, was your conduct right when you first initiated this covenant with whoever, right? Was the individual who you were engaging with, was their conduct right? Are you in the situation that you're in because there was two negative conducts that were trying to do something right? Or was it positive and negative conduct, two positive conducts? What was the formula that created this outcome that we see, right? And once we get people to start here, this is why we're talking about these things at the end, so that they can go through the 1 to 24 classes and realize that that's what the whole point is of why we're doing this, is to get us divinely and nationally living by certain standards that nobody has any reason to argue with us about anything. As soon as we present it, oh, we gotta go with it because they're dealing with, okay, love, well, okay, we're down with that. Okay, truth, well, we're down with that. Peace, well, everybody wants that. Freedom, everybody wants that. And if something goes wrong, everybody wants to see that justice happens to the wrongdoers, right? So once we have these things in place as a standard, then the people would be able to have a greater appreciation for what it is they're coming into this for, opposed to thinking they're coming into this because they got a ticket. Well, I got a ticket, so now I'm gonna do this to get out of it. Well, not necessarily, because if you didn't get the ticket from being on this, you're gonna have a hard time getting out of this from this perspective. Because if you're a moralist, then everybody else that you deal with should be that as well. So now this brings a certain energy around you now, that we're only dealing with people who are this. Just like Brother Amazite came out and said, 720-degree Moors. If you're not these, don't talk about Moors. Well, how do I know that I'm on that? Well, if you have to ask, clearly you're not on that. And it's nothing, personal, it's nothing, whatever, but lines have to be drawn. Because good people are getting injured from people not being on this. Before they do something, before they say something, before they try to implement something, they're not this first. Right? And then this is why, again, Constitution, 7 articles. Divine Constitution and bylaws, 7 articles. 7 on the cover of our stuff. Well, we have 25 classes, 7. We're all just trying to make the people raise their vibration to the light coming out of the top of the head. This is not about getting people at their heart, getting people at their lower level. This is about the people being in the higher self before they even start talking about nationality cards and papers and stuff like that. Before they start talking about beating cases and beating whatever it is that they got themselves into, you're on this level before you even start doing anything. Before you sign up to get the card, you're 720 degree more. Before you get the papers, you're 720 degree more. You're living on the frequency of a moralist, right? That you have moral sense or senses, that the principles that you live by would demonstrate right conduct automatically. You have a conscience. Again, right conduct would make your social relations be more accepting, right? Character, intentions, making sure that your intentions are pure. Yo.
Just to read in line with divine warning by the prophet for the nations. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not a true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in the present condition of their government in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of actions, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the southerner with all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the south and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet.
All right, and so divine warning stresses the point that a lot of the stuff that we receive, that we say is them coming at us or whatever like that, is really us drawing that stuff to ourselves, because we're not living as moralists. So as soon as you have yourself, what was the term, the opposite?
Oh,
Moral.
called moral turpitude. And if it's in the dictionary there, I don't know if I can put my special, I don't know, it might be there. Who have it? What's that dictionary? You got it? You have it there? Moral turpitude. We'll read it up.
You have it there? All right.
An act of baseness, vileness, or depravity in the private and social duties which a man owes to his fellow men, or to society in general, contrary to the accepted and customary rule of right and duty between man and man.
One more time.
This is long.
An act of baseness, vileness, or depravity in the private and social duties which a man owes to his fellow men, or to society in general, contrary to the accepted and customary rule of right and duty between man and man.
Or just to cut, it's
Go ahead, Mark.
interesting how that was different than
Yeah.
that other dictionary, right?
Yeah.
Because this one really puts it where it should be, right? Which was what I was saying to you, what I understood it to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
I think just while he's looking for that, Grand Chief and I were discussing this. Part of why this has been what we think the direction needs to be is because, when we talked about this earlier, it's not about bringing us down to that level. It's about uplifting all of us, which is what this has always been about, to that higher level. So it's not about us traveling at 30 miles an hour. It's about bringing us up to traveling at 70 miles an hour. So it's about a vibratory level that we're looking to set a base standard that we all need to be at, and once that happens, everything is going to open up to it for us.
Chapter 30, social duties. Right, just show that how Nobujuali covered all the bases. All Moors have to do is just study his stuff, and then you would automatically fit into the role of outstanding citizen. Automatically. We're not even going with, fezzes, turbans, shirt, tie, dress your best, or whatever like that. We're just saying his teachings only. Anybody implement it, you're now qualified to be an outstanding citizen, right? Which, majority of the people who are not outstanding are our people that don't have nationality. Whereas if we deal with, majority of other people with nationalities, they at least have the concept of knowing that, they're about to do something wrong, or, wrong can happen or whatever like that, opposed to our people's perspective where nothing applies to them because they're the founders of whatever God made them, and, we don't need to be responsible for our mental state. We don't need to be responsible for our physical state, our economic state. We could just point at somebody and say, those guys did it. Right? You got on something too?
Just the point that I was listening to one of our master teachers, Taj, made the point that being an adept, or the adeptus, was really about bringing us back to the basics, to the foundation of things.
Right.
Not about becoming more convoluted and more complex. It was really about bringing us back to the foundation and to the pureness of things. So it's almost the reverse, right? Which is what the colonizers making you do, making you think that it's this sort of convoluted nature to get to a place. It's really about stripping all of that away and coming back to sort of like those basic sort of tenets. Do unto others as you have them do unto yourself. Those kind of basic
Right.
sort of lessons and platforms, so to speak.
Chapter 30, Holy Instruction from the Prophet, the Social Duties. When thou considerest thy wants, when thou beholdest thy imperfections, acknowledge his goodness, O Son of Humanity, who honored thee with humanity, endowed thee with speech, and placed thee in society to receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations, protection from injuries, thy enjoyments of the comforts and the pleasures of life. All these thou owest to the assistance of others, and could not enjoy but in the bands of society. Right? So all these things, the pleasures of life, the enjoyments and the comforts, the mutual obligation, the protection from injuries, all of those things come from the assistance of others. And the assistance that is being offered by others is that they're moral too. Once that other individual is recognized as being moral or being outstanding, then it's the obligation of those that are witnessing that to emulate it in order to create a better society. So we have situations where individuals would recognize that that's happened, right? Nobujuali came, told people you're not Negro black colored. After he dies, everybody's calling everybody Negro black colored still, right? Clearly that they didn't recognize, understand, appreciate, acknowledge anything that he did, right? or they would have been emulating it. They realized what it was. They realized how it could be used, but did it for their own personal gain, which again takes away from the morality. Because like we were saying, do unto others as you have them do unto you. But if you're in a high position where all you can do unto others is negative stuff and not get anything back, you know, of course it's going to benefit your situation, and it's going to look like, yeah, doing, you know, it's like with these people now pushing, well, not even pushing, continuing to push Polite now. Because now he's on red carpet now. He's front row, Lakers games and stuff like that. He got Maserati and all that. But, you know, he's supposed to be a conscious individual. He's supposed to be, you got money to give Maserati and people out here starving and stuff like that. You got finance for all these other things that are just these monetary things. While people pay you $4,500, they still didn't get their D papers yet. People pay $6,000, they still didn't get their credit recovery stuff yet, but he has Maserati somewhere, right? And then the individuals that know better still back that position, knowing that these people are immoral. Then what does that say about those guys? Just like we brought up with the just like we brought up with the Africa Bambaataa thing, right? If people want child porn, they can get that from the conscious community now. The way they're replaying this stuff over and over again, and nobody's not charging them with possession of child porn and stuff like that, because, you know, people saying that, well, you know, I don't got a tape, but I was there, and this is what happened, and he touched it, and then he kissed it, and then he whatever like that, and you giving all them details. You guys clearly have child porn, pedophilia issues yourself.
Yeah, that's what you call moral turpitude.
Right? Moral turpitude. Right? Absent of morality. That somebody's going to really say that, yeah, you know, what he did damaged me. All right. So I'm going to keep reliving what happened to me over and over again by talking, doing interviews all over the place. You know what I mean? Talking about this stuff that happened again.
Well, it's not wrong to expose him. It's right, if he's guilty, it's right to expose him. The problem is that every time there's a tragedy, whether it's somebody getting shot, whether it's some child being molested, or whatever, in this case now, the child being, these men coming out years later, people are using it as entertainment, and that's horrible. You know what I mean? It sells.
Yeah.
You know, it gets people on your channel.
Yeah.
It gets all this nonsense. It's horrible. If you really, it's like these reality shows where they have people hooked on drugs, and what they call they give an intervention. You really don't want to help those people. If you did, you wouldn't be doing it on TV.
Right,
you would be doing it at some place where you can really. Thank you. You know, so this is not about helping the victim. And if he's guilty, I pray for his soul. Is all I can say, because apparently it's been years and decades, and this thing has been going on forever.
Ain't nothing new.
And a lot of people apparently knew what was going on and turned away because they were getting paid or whatever else, and they're just as guilty as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
They're just as guilty if you know a child is being molested in the next room and you do absolutely nothing about it because you're getting paid. But now for them to everybody's got an opinion. You're not trying to help the victims, and you're not doing anything to the perpetrator. You're just making a whole bunch of noise and filling your pockets. Yeah. You know, and that's horrible. Just horrible.
Yeah, with a look on your face like you have a question. Yeah, no, you.
Oh, I mean, I'm just confused. I mean, you're talking about African Bambaataa.
Yeah.
He's been accused of
Shocked.
molesting.
Yeah, people
Men
came
in
out.
their 50s are coming out
People
now
came out the closet on him.
and saying that back in the 70s he was molesting them, and this is a big hip hop icon.
Well, yeah.
So it's all over YouTube, and everybody got a say, and everybody's getting their channel, you know, up and all that
Wouldn't
jazz.
having something to do with Moorish information now, the Zulu something.
Zulu Nation?
Zulu Nation?
Yeah, say that again?
They were moving towards like the Moorish information at that right.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were, I mean, at this point, it could be, you know, cover up that they were on that info because, like we're saying, in
They were on that.
for lack of a better term, Islamic culture. Any pedophiles, they, you know, they got the cross on the eyes, buttons or whatever. They're not gonna be around here, right? So, you know, it could go multiple ways. You know, people are trying to use it to defame hip hop. Oh no, well, oh sure. If that guy is freaking whatever and he's foundation, then what does that say about everybody else? You know what I mean? But my thing is, you know, deal with if there's broken telephone, the first guy that got the message should get his ass kicked first. Because that's the guy that dropped the ball, not relaying the message properly. And then we go down the line to everybody else, and then they get their ass kicking. Because they got the message of, what did you say? Okay, don't worry, I'll just go tell it anyways. I think, you know, and then by the time you get to the end of the line, you know, ice cream flowers. When the message was, you know, go pick up milk at the store or whatever. You know? So it's leading to you know, bring out the story and, you know what I mean, the fact that it happened and victims getting to release that negative energy that was been on them for however long they've been carrying this stuff, you know what I mean? But all that stuff that happened has to do with that individual. It doesn't have nothing to do with no group that they were in. Doesn't have nothing to do with organization they were in. Has nothing to do with society they belong to, what their nationality is, whatever like that. That individual is the one that everybody should be dealing with. And not even trying to tie it to anything that they were tied to. You know what I mean? You know? That's how I look at it personally. So when people start realizing that, you know, calling themselves black is just as bad as pedophilia, and calling themselves African with a K is just as bad as raping some girl, then we can have some discussions about pedophilia and all those stuff. But if you're gonna stay stateless and tell me about pedophilia or whatever, there's nothing to talk about. Because, you know, the same thing. The conduct, intentions, character, or whatever creates society that you're in. And we know that the lower self is not the mother of virtues. We know that these actions that these people are doing, whether people did the whole see no evil, hear no evil and all that stuff, or the perpetrators themselves, that they weren't living on no moral whatever. If they sat there and let it happen, they weren't living morally. If they did it, they weren't living morally. Even the victim got it, and, you know, 40 years later, now he's coming up, well, you know, well, I can say it now because I'm a man. Well, you know, if you're 40, then you were a man 20 years ago. Why don't you say something then? You know? But again, these things bring ratings. You know what I mean? You get the right guy on the phone, and then that guy says, well, yo, you think I got stories? I'm going to call the guy who was actually in the room under them. Then they call that guy, and then now they got more views now. When all they're doing is just playing people. Distract people from the fact that you're not Negro, black, colored. You know what I mean? You're Moors. And then that's part, also the reason why we look at it, you know, even though there's allegations, even though people came out and said whatever, we're still looking at this as a shot against the Moors because Africa Bambaataa was a babe. It's not like he went to Grand Chief Nature's Temple, study there. He went to RV Bay Publications, study there. He studied under Taj Tariq Bey. So it's not like he's not affiliated with Moors. Islam, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's very affiliated with Moors. extremely affiliated with Mooralist.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you can't throw, you know, Moors try to pretend like, you know, we get out of here before we get called out. Oh no, we're in it. We're in it too. And it's for us to stand up and say, no, we don't condone any of those stuff there. That's not Moorish behavior.
That's right.
And draw that line in the sand. That individual's on their own. Whether they're Bay or whatever like that, hey, it's their birthright. They have a right to claim it. But when you start doing immoral things with the birthright, don't try to get behind the birthright as, you know, protection to help you get out of whatever, because it ain't happening.
Well, I was communicating with Kobani yesterday, the Moor, in regards to, and I think we had that DVD we showed too with the with one of those hip hop, you know, the DVD they have with the
D-Brad.
BET,
Yeah,
right?
D-Brad, yeah.
Just in terms of
David
we
Farrell.
were discussing the fact that we were discussing it, and I was relating the fact that all of this entertainment, a lot of it to me is sort of a manifestation of the sorcery that the so-called Pharisees pulled with the pharaohs back in
Right,
Egypt when
yeah.
they were having this whole kind of thing. And I think understanding that all of these industries where you're seeing so-called unawakened Moors who are getting compensated for finances for keeping us all asleep, they always have, there's always something that the so-called controller has in their pocket
Yeah,
to be able
to
to
be able
pull
to
out
pull.
at some various
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and that's all part of the
Yeah.
program. You ain't gonna make it to being rich and famous unless they got a card in their back
Yeah.
pocket to be able to silence you at any time. You know, we've seen it through the thing. Eddie Murphy, all of
Yeah.
these guys, whenever there's something going on, Bill Cosby,
Yeah.
whenever, and if you sort of watch it with sort of unjaundiced eyes, you can see that something's up. Because same thing with Bill Cosby. 40 years ago, this stuff's been going on. Only
Yeah.
now it comes
Yeah,
out.
now people are coming up.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when you start looking at it, you have to start seeing this as sort of their program and their platform of sort of undermining the stability of things and continuing to have us, you know, sort of not being able to have any foundation, right? You know, I was talking with Cabani yesterday. They were talking about these NBA stars. We were talking about with another more about, you know, here are these people with millions and millions of dollars who should be going back into the community
Yeah.
and bringing this community up.
Right.
And instead, they're renting a Flora hotel room and having these women.
Yeah.
And we were talking about these sort of like, what do you call it? Not concubines, but like they were having like a harem
Yeah.
of women that would come and sort of, and these women would travel the circuit, servicing these,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, I mean, we see it if anyone sees in sort of so-called cable, you know, they have you know, athletes' wives or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all part of this whole lifestyle, you know, where you know, he's got 3 or 4 girlfriends, and that's a norm. That's
Yeah.
the destruction of our culture as well. Right? And so part of what we have to do, I think, and this is what the other Moore was saying, it's supreme actually, was that where I think we have the power is in our energy. It's always been in our energy.
Yeah.
That energy is translated into our support.
Right.
So you don't watch that. You don't buy their albums. They're done once that happens. You see what I'm saying? The problem is that that other side of us is caught up, and we're in the club, we're listening to the music, we're buying their CDs, we're going to the games, we're buying their shoes. You know what I mean? So on, and then when SHIT hits the fan, all of a sudden, you know, we're not about that, and these are some bad guys, right?
Bro, you had a comment in the back earlier? I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on it. Well, I personally don't look at mainstream media, but when you do get into mainstream media, you have to look at the source of where it's coming from.
Yeah.
If you're doing a survey, let's say if Coca-Cola is doing a survey on the best pop drinks, and they're conducting that survey, so obviously that survey is gonna come out in the Coca-Cola's favor.
Right.
Okay, so when you're looking at, let's say, CNN, you're looking at a Jewish-controlled media center, and they're gonna push out their own agenda.
Yeah.
Whether the truth is buried or not, it's gonna come out in their favor. So what you're watching It's another person's point of view. So if you go and you do the research, you take the general information, okay, say Bill Cosby's in trouble. Okay, I'll take that information, I'll do my own research. Why is he in trouble?
Yeah.
Or did he try to buy a TV station on his own? Did they kill his son?
Yeah.
And now he's in trouble. Now just like Michael Jackson got in trouble, he's running back to base now. You know, he tried to swim a different ocean instead of the rivers that you're from.
Yeah.
You get a bigger shark.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you gotta see where that information, where the television, where the information is coming from. Go back and research it on your own.
Right. Chapter 30 continued. It is thy duty, therefore, to be a friend to mankind, as it is thy interest that man should be friendly to thee. As the rose breatheth sweetness from its own nature, so the heart of a benevolent man produceth good works. He enjoyeth the ease and tranquillity of his own breast, and rejoiceth in the happiness and prosperity of his neighbor. He opened not his ear unto slander. The faults and failings of men give a pain to his heart. His desire is to do good, and he researcheth out the occasions thereof. In removing the oppression of another, he relieveth himself. From the largeness of his mind, he comprehendeth wishes, the happiness of all men. And from the generosity of his heart, he endeavoreth to promote it. Right? So, the idea of us having the instructions of social duties is part of getting into the realm of exercising as moralists, realizing that there has been things that have been put down for us, and we have to be the ones to take those things and do something responsible with what it is that we're given, right? We just wanted to also read over the aims and goals of the Moral Science Temple for Ontario Territory, and to also put it out there as another guideline for Moors in general, to have as sort of a template for them to look at society. You know, like, what is our purpose? And we say that we're Moorish Americans, right? We have a very specific function when it comes to society, and our ability to inspire people to get out of their slave mentality is really where we're going. You know what I mean? Our duty is to make sure that anybody that engages us leaves us with a broader perspective. As you know, we will also leave their presence with a broader perspective, right? Because it's the law of contracts: offer and acceptance. Give something, expect something back. It might not be what you want, but expect something back if you give something, right? Don't take and not expect to lose. Don't got this issue, we call Tez up, and Tez gives you some insight. Know that that's coming back around, where you're going to have to give up that insight. It might not be to him that you got to give it up to. It might be somebody else needs it, and they're going to need double of what you got. Are you willing to give it up? Are you a moralist? Are you looking at yourself, the Moorish American, being that individual's, lifeline? That your conversation with them probably made them not put the gun to their head. Your conversation with them probably made them, go tell their mom sorry. Or go realize that they did something wrong and try to make it better. Because we have the mission. We know what it is that has to get done. But are we about to do it? It's like one of the brothers said, who the cap fit won't wear it. Right? So this is the aims and goals of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The proper name must be selected for the Moorish American. Some call him Black, African Canadian, Caribbean Canadian, West Indian, from the islands, at risk, etc. The proper name of these people is Moorish American because they are descendants of Moroccans born in America. This matter is to be looked at with hopes of correcting it. We seek to put an end to all inferior names because possession of these inferior names classifies one as civilly dead for all abuses and mistreatments that lawful citizens care to bestow upon them. The object of our organization is to help in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity, a national organization with a Rotarian complexion. We seek to warn humanity of their sinful ways and inspire them to return to their forefathers and foremothers' divine and national principles, that they will be jurisprudence abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens according to their free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. We seek to keep our people, men, women, and children, away from negative scenarios involving peace officers, out of courts in a defendant's capacity, and out of jails and prisons. We seek to continue to facilitate social programs such as prison ministries and transitional programs for young and old to transition out of prison institutions and back into the bands of society peacefully and successfully. We seek to introduce Moorish Americans to the morals and principles of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. We are teaching their men that they must support their wives and children. Wives must honor their husbands and be the foundation of the household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of uplifting fallen humanity. We seek to educate humanity with the reality that there is enough work for all to do to help build a better world. We seek to rally support from all loyal, faithful, and active Moorish Americans, members, and lawful citizens to help us in our great work of uplifting fallen humanity. We ask all to help us morally and financially. The remedy of truth is the cure for religious controversy. We seek to foster the teachings of Yahshua, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, Ali, and all divine prophets. We seek to teach our people that though we must be proud of our religion, Islamism, handed down to us by our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we must never use our doctrines to practice segregation. We seek to teach our people that success is earned, not given. After the example of our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we must labor day and night, in public and private, for the good of humanity. We seek to teach our people to denounce anything that deludes to the institution of slavery. This includes being late to engagements, appointments, meetings, or occasions. Punctuality is a trait of the noble, upright, fearless, and independent Moor that have love for their people through the guidance of the Father God Allah. We seek to teach our people that there is only one sole foundation for the salvation of our people, and it comes only through the connection to the Moorish divine and national movement of the world founded by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It is earnestly hoped that the Moorish divine and national movement of North America, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the world, and the Moorish Science Temple of America will not be compared to any Back to Africa movement. We seek to remind our people that without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their uncivilized undertaking in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. So the standard is to make sure that we live a moralist life, because moral turpitude is not where we want to be. Once we are here on this level, don't think that any of the things that comes with a moralist can assist you. If you're not vibrating on the 5 principles, if you're not vibrating on honoring and respecting what Noble Drew Ali laid down, more than likely you're going to have issues in exercising your birthright. Because like we say, this movement is divine and it's national. And to really know how divine this is, that's where it comes into your engagement with society. And you expressing to them or presenting to them your position. And we realize that a lot of the pressure that we get from exercising our birthrights, it doesn't come from individuals. It comes from individuals that are working for private corporations that have particular interests. So don't get caught up in, you have a situation and you're dealing with this private corporation and they're very defensive and they're not really going with what you say. They're not who you should be talking to. All right? Every interaction that we have should be with an individual, not an entity, because the entities can't respond. That's why we say that when you send stuff out, you CC people, because the individuals who are dealing with you more than likely are dealing with you under the guise that, well, he's a corporate entity, and they're speaking from their corporate entity to you, who to them is a corporate entity, right? Because they're going with birth certificate as ID, license as ID, and all this stuff as ID. Our responses to them in our free national name is supposed to shut down everything that they do automatically. As soon as we respond to them in free national name, they're supposed to respond to us that everything's resolved, everything's gone, sorry for bothering you, have a nice day. Is what's supposed to happen. Majority of time it doesn't, because we haven't been this for so long. They've got so comfortable in their positions of power that they have, that they escheated, they're racketeering, they're embezzling, they're doing all these things to try to get us to stoop to moral turpitude. Because they want us to be here, because only when we're here, right? We could also put, even if we put moral turpitude, we could also put civil liter mortuus. Right? So when we're civil liter mortuus, or we have moral turpitude, and we're not moralists, then that gives those individuals power. That gives them strength. Not only to come at us, but to also use us against ourselves. Right? So this is class 24. We're looking at the next class, doing this again as far as moralists, but it's going to be from the people's perspective of being this. How has, and this is for people online as well, that you could send your testimonials with regard to living as a moralist, right? everybody that's been studying this information has had numerous encounters with numerous different nationalities, statuses, whatever, of different people, right? And everybody's situation, everybody's interactions, positive and negative, can be used to let other people know, you know, what to check off their list, what they shouldn't do, what they shouldn't do. Like if you talk to majority of Moors that exercise, like if we say right to travel, right? Majority of Moors that exercise right to travel, one of the things that's on their list, that's a big check mark, is that as soon as they get stopped, they're calling 911 too. Or they're calling sheriff or somebody who's higher than this individual that just pulled them over. That's just a standard. That it's not even nothing that Moors that exercise right to travel talk about, because that's just a standard of the moralist life of a right to travel Moor. Is as soon as the lights come on, you're calling 911 or you're calling sheriff or whoever like that, so they can also be there, whether they're on the phone there or whether they send somebody. But you're not going to sit there and go back and forth with this individual that you don't even know who he is. You don't even know if that's really his name, if that's his uniform. You don't know who this guy is, right? That's just something across the board. Moors that been writing writs. Standard is 11.5 by 14 or 8.5 by 14 legal paper, regardless of what, whether you're writing 1-page thing, 50-page thing, doesn't matter. Legal paper all the time, across the board. That's just what it is, right? And you know, all these things are things that Moors got from Moors and their activity, right? There's not books on this is what it is. This is just they build with Moors, and Moors say, oh, you know, oh yeah, well, you did that, we that, well, we did this, and this. Okay, well, you know, maybe we can take those stuff, implement those stuff with ourselves, and you know, build on to what we already have, or extract from what we have to make it a little bit more tight, right? So any questions relative to anything as far as quote unquote being a Moor, exercising as a Moor, anything relative to anything like that?
Yeah, no, I was just wanting to just say people that's coming in a way of legal standpoint, like if you got in trouble with the law or whatever, and then you come across information leading you to the Moorish path. Well, it's usually cause and effects that people usually, you know, seek out more information. If you're not used to this information, if you've never known this stuff is out there because you're being taught, like, you know, do the European style, live their lifestyle, whatever, and then all of a sudden you stumble on this whole other world, like, you know, you've been lied to your whole life. So it's kind of like a cause and effect. People come here for information, and then they discover there's a whole new different, like, you know, information that comes through, and then you're just learning, right? So you go back and you're enlightened. You come back to your family, you teach your family this information, then it starts snowballing from there.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And even before I had any knowledge of the Moorish identity. Remember that time in high school? When they thought they were going to arrest you? It was you and Kenny and Alex. It was Halloween and the egg incident.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I went down to the police station. When you mentioned how when we're stopped, we don't deal with the the highwayman, you go to his higher up. It's like anything else. First of all, they're public servants. So they're not supposed to be harassing us, and if they are, we go to their boss.
Right.
And when they harassed Tesla, I went down to the police station, and I told them exactly, the woman come out there, I said, I don't need to talk to you, get your boss.
Yeah.
Straight up, I have nothing to say to her, and I'm a woman, but I'll say this about policewomen, they have to prove themselves, so they always have to go a little above and beyond, and I can't deal with that kind of nonsense. But even then, this was, how many years ago? 17, 18. I didn't know nothing about no more and nothing, but I said, no, this is not right. I think it has a lot to do with, even if, before you know that you're a Moor per se, you know something about you know you're not being treated fairly.
Yeah.
And once you know that, and you know you have a right to be treated fairly, then you go and you seek justice.
Right.
And you don't get it from the guy that stopped you on the street, you get it from his boss.
Exactly.
You know, you don't have a right to stop me, and if you don't know, then I need to speak to your boss.
Right.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know,
If you don't know.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you know. I'm paying your salary, so stop harassing me.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't like when you say that.
That's too bad. They don't like the truth.
They don't like that.
I don't know, you go ahead, cause my stuff is kind of a little bit off topic.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that you know, I think there's an ultimate reality where anything that's not in equity or anything that's not for lack of a better word, sort of balanced, is liable to negative aspects coming through. Right? So, you know, if your equation isn't balanced, then you can always slip more negativity on one side or another without, and if people are used to that equation not being balanced, then nobody cares and nobody says anything.
Exactly.
Right.
So with the issue of Negro, Black, and Colored, you have this portion of the population that has accepted, you know, 3/5 law, has accepted whatever by force or by choice or whatever, as well as everyone else. And so the negativity that comes through is prevalent and, you know, spoken of by Joe Ali when he said he went to the South and he witnessed whatever was going on there, right? Whatever moral turpitude was going on. If you have a people who have to balance the equation, who have to come and have their one vote be one vote, then it's less likely for you to be able to have negative stuff, you know, entering into the equation.
Right.
So, I think people like to separate the two. I think as Moors we have to support the concept that you can't guarantee, you know, proper social, moral living if there isn't a proper equitable status amongst all the parties in the equation.
Exactly.
And anybody trying to do that is wasting their time, and they're siding with a potential immoral, you know, future circumstance.
Yeah.
Well, I have to commend you because you putting this together. This is like a community get together. People get together. They share ideas. They open up. I mean, society where a lot of people don't necessarily are free to talk their mind. A forum like this, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
When I come here, it's like, wow, you guys are like, you know, you guys are uplifting yourselves, and when I guarantee you, when you guys go home, ladies, men, when you guys go home, you teach your family. You know, you're giving out the knowledge here. So it's stuff like this that you just don't know when you come in here and you're just taught, and you're getting that uplifting, you're getting the conversation, you know?
Yeah.
So I just like to commend you.
Yeah,
for
thanks. Appreciate that.
I also wanted to say on a topic about, I mean, anytime you have an issue, anywhere you go, whether you call a customer service or you go to the store, and you can't get the service that you want, you ask the supervisor.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anywhere you go.
If you know you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You know you're right, and you know that you're the customer, and you're supposed to
Customer's
be
always right
choosing
and
you.
all that stuff, yeah.
Right? If you don't get what you want, go get the supervisor.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right,
And usually, 99% of the time, you get some kind of answer.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
Whether it's in your favor or not,
Yes,
but you're gonna
usually
get,
some kind of answer.
yeah.
Yeah. And back to the moralistic part.
yeah,
I mean, just by talking to people, as I mostly have conversation with at least conscious people, because at least they're at a certain level. They're
Right.
not like dormant.
right,
I
right,
mean,
yeah,
but even I'm talking to like, you know, some females, I'm trying to show them that how the female is the head and the female is, you know what I mean, is what's needed to bring us to another level. And they're like, oh no, like I'm like, listen to yourself. I'm telling you something that giving you a certain amount of power,
empowerment, yeah.
and you don't even want it.
Don't
You're
even
like,
want it.
oh no, the rib came from Adam. I'm like,
Yeah, I know, that's Brentford
so I'm
bird.
like,
You know what
how does that make sense? Okay, just use common sense. Like use like some common sense or just some logic.
Yeah.
Like if that was the case, don't you think Adam would be pushing out the babies?
Yeah.
In other words, from the one time they take a rib from a man, they never take none from no more man.
Yeah, yeah.
Still
And
taking
why the rib? You know, why not an arm or a leg? A rib? Come on.
Even the rib, but again, you're still taking babies from women. But why not take another one from you? Another rib from a man, let us see what's going on. But you're still taking babies from women though.
I mean, and then these are supposed to be like conscious people. Like, I mean, conscious means like you have some kind of common sense to at least overstand stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like I just laugh my head off because these people are like,
What if you're
You're
talking
so-
to a woman with fake hair on and
no,
blue
she's
eyes?
conscious.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
she has natural hair. Like she knows like she's not. You know what I mean? She's not she's a proclaimer
Yes.
nationality or anything.
Yeah.
But at least she at least could understand what I'm saying to a certain extent. But it's just to see the people's brainwash is like they don't even want to take the power that
It's theirs.
that's theirs and that makes sense. Like why would you want to be subordinate to something that's makes sense? Like, you know, yeah, it makes sense, but you know, for whatever reason. And my last point is, I went to the tribunal on Friday. I had a court date with traffic court, like the so-called traffic court, and it was just to set a date for trial or whatever the case is. But you know, I stand on my square and I did, you know, my nationality thing, and so whatever. So they gave me my date to come back. So I was outside, and then I guess there was a lawyer that was in the courtroom, and she came out to me and she's like, wow, like how come, like why did you do that? I'm like, well, I'm a Moor and I stand on my square. She's like, I mean, it's like, she's like, wow, it's very surprised to see somebody do that. What are these people that are too busy watching the Raptors game and
This is the lawyer.
watching their, you know,
Yeah.
watching their little shows on TV that they're so, like she basically said they're so stupid, right? And then, so then she told me some information where I think it's kind of pertinent to where they try to, like now, the so-called government, they're trying to bring in new legislator to where now, instead of police coming to court or having a like prosecutor or anything, they just want, you know, to go just in front of the magistrate, and basically all it is now, they're gonna tell you how much your fine is. So I guess the lawyers, that's cut into their field.
Yeah.
So they're kind of fighting it, and they're basically kind of, they try to push it through the back door, like where they do all the
Yeah.
But I guess they kind of blocked it to where, but they're still saying that, well, they're gonna try to push it some more because that's what they do.
Yeah.
She's telling me all this and like, this is what they're trying to do now. They're trying to make it you just go in front of a magistrate and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no set up like how they have it now, where you
Right.
have the prosecutor and the lawyer.
Right.
Now all this is just how much you're gonna pay.
Right. Right.
Let's make
Now
a
you
deal.
can't even find it now.
And that just goes to show you, everybody who thinks that, you know, you'll talk to people who are on the verge, who've heard of the Moor science, but they have their reason why they feel it's not this or not that. You know, I don't really bother arguing, but at the same time, it's like, I just think back to those people when I hear stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so, you know, imagine you're a lawyer and you, what you used to think, well, this more science is BS, and now it's Moors who are coming in and standing up and showing you that, like, this is how we do it, and it's Moors who you're gonna have to run to now in order to get back your job, your living. And people don't seem to get it. People seem to think that as soon as you say you're more and they're not a more, they're safer than you, or they're like more secure than you. There's this semblance of security that people seem to think to have, that, you know, they're on some higher level, that there's, you know what I mean? When, I mean, there's, you know, there's a caste system, but really it's a very simple one. It's black and white. And, you know, as Moors, we don't accept any lower caste within our homeland. And people just struggle they struggle with that because they like the multi-caste system. You know, 5 or 6 or 10 different levels, and they're on the middle level. So they know they're not on the highest level, but they feel like, well, I'm on the middle level. I'm this or I'm that.
Right.
I'm a professional such and such and such. And you just, you know, you give them these examples. You know, you don't even have to fight with them, but it just makes me think whenever I hear stuff like that. It's like, yeah, let the friggin' regulators and the so-called government remind you that you're just a nigger, basically. Because I'm not gonna say it to you. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna say that I'm hurting your feelings or whatever. But
just to add one more thing to the conversation with the lawyer, like, you know,
So you're quiet today.
because she was just, she was actually telling me, yeah, we know, yeah, it's a corporation, because I'm just trying to drop in some stuff. It's like, yeah, we know it's a corporation. She's they basically admitted
They know.
to me, yeah, it's a corporation, yeah, it's false, it's all fraud, but it's okay, it's fine for him saying to me because he knows I know. Because he knew I stand up. So
Yeah.
anybody else would probably say that because that's coming to his finance. But just to see that they know that it's a fraud, and they know that he's like, yeah, these people are too stupid. They're too busy watching the Raptors game to even know when anything's going on. But right now, the Raptors game is a big thing in the city now. So like, you know, it was just so funny just to hear him dropping, like, admitting that he knows it's a fraud.
Yeah, but this thing is serious though, because they're locking up people left and right for over little or nothing. And I walked in, last time I went to court, I walked in, and they called me up to the pew with my name, with my so-called name. I walked up to the pew, and I just said, well, I am who I am, therefore I am. Oh my goodness, it's like running through a chicken hen with waving your arms. Go call the police, he's not gonna say his name. He's not gonna say. So I got 3 cops running into the building, and I'm standing there, I'm like, oh, here we go again. The cops are standing by the door, and he's like propping up his chest, and the lady, she's banging there. What is your name? Say your name. I am who I am, therefore I am. So the cop comes closer and closer, and then it's all, okay, I'll explain it to you. I don't really have a name. And the people like shaking their head, oh, this guy's crazy, this guy's nuts. You
guys always nuts, right?
Yeah, I have a title. My last name is Herod. I inherited from my father and my grandfather before him, and so on and so on. 9 generations I could go back to you. My mother calls me Carl. Therefore, my mother calls me Carl. You can call me Carl, but I do not have a name.
Yeah.
So they all look at each other and it's like, okay, you know what? Just set his date and kick his ass. So they set my date. You know, October 2nd, I gotta come back. And before I turn around, picked up my bag, turn around and walked, and the prosecutor says, oh, we would like to stress incarceration. What? I'm saying, what the hell, lady? And I'm like, first of all, you didn't get your what do you call it?
Disclosure?
I didn't get my disclosure. I didn't get my I got my summons to court, which you don't have jurisdiction over the person. You have to establish jurisdiction over the person before you can do all that nonsense. And she's just standing there. I picked up my bag, turned around, and walked out of the court. Everybody else is just watching me.
Yeah, like they always
And
do.
no paperwork, huh? They just said, oh, just
They
write
always
this date down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You're supposed to give me some, like, you
Yeah,
know,
something.
yeah, and
they're
this,
coming at you.
Yeah, and I told him this disclosure here, it's supposed to follow with what, defamation. It's I can't forget. I can't remember the
You're talking
name
about
right
the
now.
first
Yeah.
appearance thing,
Yeah.
not the disclosure, but the,
When you're indicted, your indictment papers.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't get my indictment papers.
Right, so, and then, even with what brother's talking about too,
Yeah.
like, people have to realize that the work that's been done for all this confusion that you know what I mean, like, we hear people go in there and say things and you know what I mean, this happens, that happens in there, etc. But when from say 2010 to now, processes changed like crazy in there, as far as, you know what I mean, how does it happen when you walk in there, right? Stuff changed. Stuff's not how they did it 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and they're talking about getting rid of prosecutors and all that and just have the magistrate up there. You know that stuff is happening because of the activity of Moors going in there and standing up. You know, they're caught in a position because majority of the Moors that we know that they try to railroad are Moors who's already been inside. So for them to kidnap them and then put them in jail, they're not hurting nobody but themselves, because those individuals who go in there, they're going in there now without that Negro mindset or whatever. They're going in there with Moorish mindset. And they still, ready to teach those ones in there. And then those ones in there are in there waiting.
Come out.
Like we said, we got calls from chaplains calling. You know what I mean? Not inmates calling, chaplains calling to say inmates want you guys information in the jail.
So this movement is
You
growing.
know what I mean? So it's growing, and it's not anything that, you know, once we deal with the whole thing with the moralist perspective, then they have no reason to deny anything. They have no reason to say, no, we can't. That can't happen. Don't send that here, blah, blah, because it's dealing with raising people's moral standard. What do you want? And these people are the people with lowest moral standards, according to you guys. So, what's wrong with them having a Quran? What's wrong with them having this information in order to raise them up? You know what I mean? That they're asking for. It's not even like, you know what I mean? They're not asking for it in there. They're asking for it.
Would that system make it easier, actually? Because now you don't have the prosecutor to deal with, and if we're sending in a writ, and it's going directly to the magistrate, it's supposed to be unbiased.
Well,
have the facts.
and that's
it's
the
just
thing.
You win the one now.
And that's where it comes into now. Like so remember, like, even when I had my right to travel case, my set court date was, I swear it was a dude that they just ran out in the hall and got this guy. Just because the judge was like, I'm not even dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this. You guys got to find somebody else to do this, because I'm not dealing with it. They just found a guy, pulled the guy into the court. You know what I mean? So it could be a situation like that, where they just have, you know, their boy needs 30,000. You know what I mean? They set up their little room, because they're building. I mean, they can type up the stuff. Like, imagine we had that building, like courthouse or whatever. You know what I mean? And then we could do the front. You know what I mean? Get the room or whatever like that. More playing around out here, put stuff on their window, tell them come to the building, deal with court. Then they're gonna come up, their name's gonna be on the list and stuff like that. They're gonna come in, stand, you know what I mean? All rise or whatever like that, you know what I mean? But then it comes out, sits in the thing, you know, and everybody's thinking that, oh yeah, this is like, oh my gosh, this is real. The Moors have a court and all that type of stuff. But hey, nothing. Court's out here, court's out there. Real court on the streets. You know, real court isn't these people's stuff that they're doing. You know, their front's been going up for so long. Why the assumption is that they are whatever they say that they are, but they're not that. You know what I mean? So when they start doing those things, that's just to let us know that, you know, we're getting through layers or whatever. You know what I mean? Phone book used to be like this. Now we got phone book compact to this. Soon, you're gonna hear courts closing down like Walmarts. And then you know that the Moors did something. When you start hearing them closing down court, sorry, we can't.
So, do you want to do what Taj wants to do and just do a class action lawsuit?
I mean, we're on that frequency.
Yeah.
That's where we would like to go. But in our jurisdiction,
Yeah.
right, there's no legitimate courts here for us to even make that claim to.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you know, Superior Court of Canada, that's a private corporation.
Yeah.
That has no judicial authority, like, you know what I mean? Like Supreme Court supposed to have. You know, if it was Canada's Supreme Court, maybe it might have a little, but because it's Supreme Court of Canada, you know that's private corporation, right? And then the issue that we have with international people is that you have to go through all the levels. So you have to go through municipal level, get denied. Then go to federal level, get denied. Then go to civil level, get denied. Go to Supreme, get denied, and then you can go to international court. Right? Like for example, they have like the Moors have the writ that they use removal to Supreme Court. Right? Where if they have a case in a low court, like how we have Ontario Court, City Hall, or whatever like that, the next level court up, you could send those guys a writ to tell them that that trial that you guys are dealing with should be dealt with here, and then they'll move it to the higher level court. There's another reason why a lot of Moors, when unconscious Moors who can't accept the fact that this is real, and then they say, well, I need to see something from the court to prove that you guys did something or whatever like that, right? They never go to Supreme Court and ask, right? They never go to federal court and ask. They always go to the low-level court, where the low-level court, most of the time, if they have dealt with it, they moved it to a higher court, or they dismissed it so there's going to be no record of it. Because of the same point of people going to be calling up, I want to see the file records or whatever with, you know, whoever versus the Moor that he got off his 500 charges. You know, how did he do that? But if there's no record, then they can't do anything about it. You know, so yeah, we're with the whole thing of the class actions, but you know, if we don't have any legitimate courts to use out here, right? If all the courts are illegitimate and they were created under some guise of administrative court or whatever, then us going to them is going to the criminal to tell the criminal, oh, you're a criminal. And the criminal's like, no, I'm not. We're just trying to do it. Okay, cool, you know what I mean? Because, oh yeah, those guys are wrong, you know what I mean? And things go not in our favor. You know, so, you know, and again, with the thing about being a moralist, if you're a moralist, you wouldn't even get into any situations where you have to be in the goddamn court. Because everything, all your T's crossed, I's dotted, you're not going to have no issues whatsoever, just because. You already groomed the ethers to be prepared for your coming, if you're a moralist, because you already have your mindset in a certain, you know what I mean, class 1, class 2, 5, 7, 9, 15, 20. By 21st class, you already have your aura in a place where when you start exercising this, they're going to see you coming from way down there and not want nothing to do with you. Because this is divine first. And then a lot of people get this and then they do the national first. And then they get caught up years in the national stuff or whatever like that. But there's chapters in the Quran about holy breath. And then nobody's breathing. And there's, you know, keep your bodies clean with water. And then everybody has no water. And it's like, you know, you're going to have hiccups. because there's an order that this is supposed to be running. You know, unfortunately, you know, we're like with the 25 classes or whatever, it's really, warp speed classes. You know what I mean? Try to bring people up to speed ASAP because we're so far behind. And then those that get on it, all right, yes, good. We got, 5. You know, just like when we say with the emails that, we got 100 people email this. All right, yeah, we're gonna free Jordans. Oh, everybody's news. Oh, 5 people. Right? Let it be some free stuff we're giving away. Everybody be emailing. Everybody make the time to come pick up their whatever that they gotta pick up. Dues, oh, sorry. Next week, next month, 5 months gone, nothing, you know what I mean? And then people get guilty, then they just stop coming. And then we already tell people, it's not about, we're not defending no money, we're just saying, like, you know what I mean? You show up for once in a while. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not that serious. You don't beg money and stuff like that, pass around hats and stuff like that. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? You pay your stuff when you got it. But know that, Jolly said I need finance badly. If you don't give me your money, it's going to burn up in your pocket. And then, actually, you pay your dues. Nah, I'm broke. What do you want? You know what I mean? You got hot pockets. You got hot pockets. Not the pepperoni ones either. You got hot pockets. Right? Couple questions that we got. I'm looking for a reference on the 25 types of contracts listed in How to Live Within Contracts under open readings on RV Bay. Are there any ways to get the info on all of them? One thing you can use is you can use the let's check the contents in this. All right, so you might be able to find any of the editions. We have 5th edition, the Law and Business Administration books. This is Law and Business Administration in Canada, 5th edition. And then we have a 5th edition, and we have I think this is 2nd or 3rd edition or something. And in the Law and Business Administration in Canada, you have a specific chapter on contracts, and it goes into formation of a contract, offer and acceptance, role of contract law, nature of a contract, nature of an offer, the communication of an offer, offer made by tendering a written document to the offeree, lapse and revocation of an offer, elements of acceptance, unilateral and bilateral contracts, the effect of an incomplete agreement, formation of a contract, consideration, intention to create legal relations, meanings of consideration, adequate consideration, or adequacy of consideration, formation of a contract, capacity of contract, formation of a contract, legality objects, grounds upon which a contract may be impeached, grounds upon which a contract may be misrepresentation, interpretation of contracts, privity of contracts, assignment of contractual rights, discharge of contracts.
Which book is that?
Law and Business Administration. Right, so you can check those books. Any Law and Business Administration books should have some type of chapter relative to contracts, and you can also just do, use your common sense and YouTube search or whatever, not Google search, You know what I mean? Contracts, laws that govern contracts. The next question. Before I came into this knowledge, I started a small business, so-called sole proprietorship, for the first time in my life, and applied for and received an EIN number from the IRS company. I have not used the number for anything, no tax filing, no bank accounts, nothing. As Moorish American, what is the best way to operate my business? I sell dashiki shirts. Well, the first thing would be, if you are not going to be using that corporation that you set up, that you might want to dissolve that first, because to leave it open leaves it open. That's just free reign for anybody who knows about the laws that govern contracts and knows that all these contracts are adhesion, and then this individual put their signature on something and they have it filed in some IRS office, and IRS right now is in debt, how much ever billion or whatever like that, down with the U.S., which is in debt some other billion, and everybody's sold out to IMF and all these different international bankster agencies. So you might want to get your name out there stuff if you're not going to be using it. As Moorish American, the best way to operate your business is to operate it. It's like, it's like when people say, I want to learn how to write to travel. Just open the door, put the key in, and then there's a brake and the accelerator, and we might have gear shift or whatever like that, and then you travel. Yeah, but the highwayman, but you didn't ask him about that. You asked him about right to travel, right? So, how do you operate your business? You operate it. You go through your UN Declarations of Rights of Indigenous People, find the one relative to Indigenous people, whatever relative to your business, and then that's your template to justify to these people that I'm doing this because they're going to ask, well, where did you get the authority to, where's your license? Well, at Aboriginal, you got your nationality card, we don't register our stuff. We put on notice that we're going to be exercising. And you draft up your thing, what your business is, what it's going to do, who it's going to serve, target market, just like any other business. And opposed to filing whatever, put them on notice. Give them 30 days to reply. They don't reply, default judgment, and then now you have that paper that you sent to them and the default judgment and your ID, which all this stuff should be in there to prove that you're following international law. It's not some stuff you're just doing just because, you need a job, and black people have no job, so I started my own business. It's nothing to do with that. We're Aboriginal Indigenous people, and we're exercising as such. And then we deal with whatever else, because people, want to, not that it's wrong, but, have foresight. Well, okay, so if this happens, then if this happens, then we're going to do this, and we're going to have this paper that we're going to send, because they're going to try to, You just manifested all those stuff about to happen to you by even going there. When your focus should have been business plan, target market, all the stuff relative to your business is what you have going on here. Nothing else is going on here until you have to deal with those things. Because to have foresight, like, Nobujwale had foresight, and then relayed the messages to us so we can see stuff coming, right? Even though he already said it's going to come. But, we didn't listen to prophet, so we'll learn the hard way. Right? So we're going to have to get some blows, right? That's just what it is. Nothing, it's what it is, right? We don't have to engage them at all. it's just like the people who we know, who they haven't had a license for past 10 years. No insurance. And they never get stopped at all. Right? Never ever get stopped. And they never had no insurance, no license for 10, 15 years. The exact same thing that we're doing. Implement what we're doing.
They don't think about it.
Keep that stuff out of here, and you're not going to be dealing with anything crazy. Trust me. All the people who I know that still today, Negro, Black, colored people, that their license expired or the license expired 10 years ago, and they never went and got renewal or whatever, because they got fines like this. And then they got no insurance because they got fines like this. They got insurance going to be like, right? And they've been still going out there, you know, open the door, put the key in. Right? They've been exercising the right to travel. Unknowingly. They've been exercising the right to travel. And once you have due care, just like those people who have no license and have no insurance, and they're the most careful drivers. They never get in an accident, they never run lights, they never make the right turn or the red. You know what I mean? Even if there's no sign, they stop. Just because they're having due care. They're not trying to get stopped. And just like Brother Tez was saying, not only are they not trying to get stopped, but police getting stopped or whatever is not even nothing that's in their mind. In their mind is what they got to do today. You know what I mean? Okay, it's going to take me half an hour to get to whatever like that, so I manage my time properly, take the right streets and whatever like that. They don't got, oh, there's a highwayman duck into something, park here, wait till this guy passes and stuff like that. All right, now we can go again. So, right to travel. You know what I mean? You know? And they're doing it out of mind. You know what I mean? So what if they were in their higher senses? You know what I mean? How much more better would that work for them if they were in their higher senses? You know what I mean?
Well, that's why it's so important to have the 25 classes, though. It's just like anything else. If you can't get up one day and say, well, I'm going to be an auto mechanic and I'm going to fix a car, you got to go to learn time and time again what's under the hood and how the car works and how to fix it, right? So if you don't do that, you can't just get up one day and say, well, now, but once you've done the training, you know how to fix a car. And so you feel confident in fixing the car, and you know you're doing something that's right. It's the same thing with this whole thing with the right to travel. You know you have a right to travel. But if you're not coming to classes to find out how come you have this right to travel, then you don't know why. You know, because we've been conditioned to think you gotta have a license, you gotta do this, you gotta do all these things in order to travel, which is not true. But you don't know it's not true, because you've been told you gotta have all these things.
Right.
But you come to class and you learn gradually what it means to have the right to travel and all the other rights associated with being a Moor.
Yeah.
And then once you know you're right, you go and you do what you have to do, and you're not thinking about the highwayman because you know you have a right to travel.
Right, and then also consider this too, that why is it called right?
Exactly. Because it's correct.
Because it's right.
That's right.
If you have never known yourself from day one,
You have no rights.
and is this connected to the divine? Because we don't think that anything got to do with us will have any divine.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because it comes from religion or from authority or whoever. And all this time, all I wanted to know was me. Because if I don't know, how would I know the outside?
Yeah.
Not knowing the inside.
Have to know self.
Which connects you to the moral and the divine.
Right.
But anyone that looks like us, I don't think if they will ever know that they have a divine in them. So they'll just function according to what was given.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it starts from home too.
Yeah.
Because you never get to see your grandfathers or your grandmoms to pass you the torch, to let you know
You
what.
don't even know, yeah.
And you don't want to start on your own because
Right.
then you have the corporation who's telling you how you should start or who to be. That's why I never believed in any God in my life beside me. Because why am I empowering something that is not empowering myself?
Yeah.
If I empower myself, then I can empower whoever or whatever is out there.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but if I don't have it. So like when they say, give your heart to Jesus, do I have to or what? How do I?
You heard and keep living.
You're telling me, give it to him. What will I have then?
Yeah.
So you're basically telling me I should just be an empty box.
You should
Yeah.
be heartless.
Heartless, soulless, everything else.
This is the problem, because we always empower, like when you're talking about the dues. When they're forced by the system to pay something, they come fast
Yes.
and pay it very
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Say, we're protecting you.
Right.
You gotta pay us. So our people more time they like force somebody to
Yeah.
force them.
Yeah, yeah. That's how Joali said. You're
Yeah.
gonna learn at the point of a sword.
Well, they actually enjoy
You know,
it.
yeah, yeah. That's how they wanna learn. Yeah.
Extortion is how it comes.
Yeah. That's how they wanna learn.
And that's why, like, for me it's a mundane, like, if you don't know the divine, no matter what you read,
You're not gonna.
cannot
Yeah.
work for you.
Yeah.
Because first it starts from inside.
Yeah.
So
And
that's why I
that's-
have no question, because I've already questioned myself.
That's part of the morality too. You know, the morality is supposed to connect you to the divine aspect.
And that's why the studying and the coming to
The
class is so important.
It's so important.
It's
You know
so
what I mean? Because
important.
it might not necessarily just be some reading. It might be because you talk to that more why something went off. You know what I mean? Or you heard a conversation. Oh, wow, I was just dealing with that yesterday. Somebody just mentioned that yesterday. They're talking about that today. Oh, something must be going on. You know what I mean? Because once you start raising your moral standards, then the expectation from the universe is gonna be high. You know, the messages that you receive from the universe are gonna come at you more directly. That you don't have to fiddle around try to figure out are the gods talking to me right now and all this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Or are you tapping into yourself? You know what I mean? And you're drawing these things to you. It's like we were at doing the family thing yesterday for my my uncle's birthday. So he turned 82. So he's the oldest in the family or whatever right now. So we had a little something for him. And he's talking about, well, where I'm at right now, I just want to know how I'm getting out of here. What? Is it going to be a bus to run me over? In my sleep? You know what I mean? Because I lived past all my parents and all my everybody else. Like I'm it right now. Like ain't nobody. Like I'm it. How's it gonna go down? I don't know. I'm just waiting. Like you stay there and wait. But he does his stuff. He goes travels and all that stuff. It's not like he's wasting life or whatever. But it's like it's like once you know for self, then the divine is just gonna work with you. You know what I mean? That you don't have no worries about what's gonna go down. He's looking for it, like look at there's the bus. Oh, this is the time. He's not even worried how it's coming. He just wants to know, wonder what it'll be like. That's gonna be an interesting time or whatever. These last 20 years left, or how much ever years I have left, or whatever. But those are the things, because he's somebody that he lived good life and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He worked helping people and he always looked out for people less fortunate and stuff like that. So he's not he's not scared about what he's gonna see after he leaves here. Like, oh my gosh, what?
You don't have something to be afraid of.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Ain't nothing to be afraid of. You already know that something good must manifest from it, right? But back to the thing, like with the business thing. This is where it comes into again about Moors, be yourself. Moors, be what you know. So if you are looking for, you know, or you have some idea, eureka moment, and you want to do something, if it's connected to your birthright, you should be just doing it because it's your birthright. Just be doing it. You don't need some grand sheet to tell you, "Yo, can you give me," just do the stuff. Stick with doing with the principles, stick with noble Joali, stick with, you know what I mean, having respect for a higher force, whatever you want to call it, Allah, ancestors, whatever, have some respect for that, and then, you know, be a moralist and do what it is that your higher self tells you to do. You know what I mean? And you're more than likely going to be successful in doing that. You know? Because, but as far as that whole thing with, you know, you're contracted with IRS and all that stuff, if that has nothing else to do with anything, then you should probably dissolve that. Because you don't want to have those people coming down on you, trying to tie you to the old stuff that you didn't dissolve, and you know what I mean, that was so long ago, I didn't make any money from that. Yeah, well, you know, we show that there's this and that, and you don't want these people in your business.
Just to say something about that.
Yeah.
My queen, her mother, she's retired, so she gets her retirement benefits. And you know, like they tax all that stuff even before when you're working and stuff. And basically, when she did her taxes, they're telling her that she owes like $3,000 on her retirement money. I'm like, so I'm telling her, don't pay it. That's ridiculous. And she's gonna go get a loan to pay it off and stuff. I'm like, don't pay it. These people are criminals. Can't you see that they're double taxing? They already tax you when you're working for it, and now they're coming back to say that whatever little money that you're making, you owe off.
Yeah.
Already tax money. Say that you owe, and you're not even. It's not even a working income.
Yeah.
No, they tax retirement.
Sure.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, yes,
They
the
do.
CPP.
Right, so
While they're
like,
still breathing, they'll tax you.
but that's
They get
like,
you,
you know,
you
that's
have
when
your
I tell them about
Yeah.
war, they
My
think
parents
that,
are retired right now, they're
you know,
getting
I'm a little
taxed.
bit, I'm talking like I'm a vigilante.
Yeah.
But as I said, look at these how these people are, they're criminals.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is you're getting your little money to, you know, bring you, like you worked up to 60, whatever you worked till, and now you're trying to relax yourself, and they're telling you that you owe
Yeah.
$3,000, not even like some little $500.
Yeah. $3,000.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, that is so disgusting.
It's terrible.
yeah.
But going back on your topic with morals, okay, in this society, when you're growing up in this society, you know, at the age of 18, your parents are going to try to kick your ass out. Right? But it's serious when you go back to your morals, your Caribbean morals, your North American morals. When I was born in Guyana, okay, we have a family house, small little family house. You got aunts, uncles, you got grandparents there, you got people sleeping in, three, 4 people sleeping in the same bed. You know, everybody's dressing in front. You see your auntie's breast before you even see, you know, your first girlfriend's breast. You're not gonna grow up and like be ogling, you know, other people's, you know, gender. It's just about morals.
Yeah.
You grow up a different
Sure.
way, a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna cuss my grandmother out. She peed the bed. How am I supposed to cuss her out? She's the grandmother. She's the matriarch. You know. But we slept in the same bed. We share the same bed, same house. You know, you grew up with love, that family love, that community love.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about daycare fee. You don't have to worry about your parents retiring because you're in the same house. If somebody's working,
Yeah.
somebody's working. You
More
don't
likely
have
the
to worry
house is
about-
owned too.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
pay tax. You don't pay land tax. Mom don't have to come home and worry about who's gonna cook. because there's a woman in the house
Yeah,
that's gonna
food's
cook.
cooked.
Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna cook.
Somebody's gonna
right?
cook.
Somebody's
Straight.
gonna cook, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You just have to worry about a spot to sleep, probably. But that's a different kind of lifestyle that the morals that in this society we don't have that. 18, you're kicking your son, you're kicking your daughter out. She got pregnant, you're gonna toss her out on the street. I got 2 girls. I'm not gonna kick them out. They're with me for life, and that's my moral.
Right. Right.
That's mine. I'm not gonna kick my daughter out because she got pregnant. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Back
I've heard so many stories, you know, young women get kicked out because, you know, they got pregnant, they made a mistake, whatever, the same mistake their mother might have made.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you kick them out. You're going to do the same thing that happened to you?
Sure.
And you're going to call yourself a moral?
I was bringing forth like a mistake.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what I always
it's never a
say,
mistake.
you know? Exactly.
But this society is teaching you that,
Exactly.
you know,
This is where we find the
and even in reverse, your parents treat you like crap your whole life. So when they're getting to retirement, you're gonna kick them into a home.
Yeah. Right. Not take care of
You're
them.
gonna kick
Yeah.
them into a
Straight.
home, and
Straight.
you know the ambulance is just waiting for someone to
The
die in that
organs.
building.
Get the organs.
You know, they're like vultures.
But-
They park outside the retirement home, just waiting for
That's a
business.
mistake. Why is
but
it a
this-
mistake?
It just comes to your morals. It's
Yeah.
just,
But
No,
God
no,
being
go ahead.
born.
Go ahead. Say that
Like
again.
he was saying, people make a mistake.
Yeah.
If God is going to be born out of a womb,
It's never a mistake.
how is
How
it a
is that
mistake
error?
that he or she wanted to come at this time, comes to teach us something that we have forgotten? And this is where society thinks that every time someone is born, it was a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were not
Especially
born.
especially us.
Yeah.
You know, we're living
You want to
mistakes.
see married with a marriage license.
So I was born mistaken.
My sister.
I shouldn't have been here.
That's the only way for it to be so.
Where are we supposed to be?
Straight.
We're gonna go somewhere else.
When you're married with a license, then it's good.
This the net we got probably
Make you think of this. It's not.
got
My
three.
sister had,
Got 3 more questions.
2 children, sorry bro.
No, it's all good.
My sister, she followed me, and she was going to high school, and she get pregnant. Well, my parents didn't do that. My father, you know, and she happened again twice. Good. Now it's over, and they grew up, and she get married. Coming from her honeymoon, an accident, crash, spinal damage. She can never have a child. So what? Those 2 were mistake
No way.
For real.
because she was going to school is mistake.
Yeah.
No, she have a husband now that the law said or the rules and the regulations you can get married and have children. So now she's married, coming from her honeymoon, have an accident, and will never have a child from that accident. So those 2 that she had when she was going to school was a mistake?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
From the Buddhist perspective, no baby can be born unless it's meant to be born.
Exactly.
All of the conditions have to be in line
Yeah.
in order for a baby, every single baby. So there are no mistakes.
No.
Straight.
I say 1 and 1 make 3.
The next question was when it comes to Pope Francis being the chief of command over the corporate entities, what role does he play when it comes to the affairs of the Moors? Example, the letter he personally wrote to President Obama.
So we were talking about that earlier, but I was talking about Pope Francis and the things that he's been saying, proclamations, etc. And my perspective was that we as Moors shouldn't look at the things that may or may not be official, or that may be going from the Pope to a president or head of state. What we should be looking at is what the Pope is saying to all the people who call him Pope, all the people who call him Father. And if he's telling them we need to take care of the planet, then we need to ask ourselves, do I like taking care of the planet as a Moor? Do Moors like taking care of the planet? Then right off the bat, you have a seal, a stamp, something that the Pope said in public on the record that you can now connect with your fellow Asiatic or your fellow human being in general. If the Pope said, indigenous people have a right, that's not something that you can just say, oh, I'm going to take this to Governor General, and that's that.
I don't know where.
You don't know what the relationship between the Pope and the Governor General is. And the Governor General is de facto, so it doesn't matter. The point is that now you go and you talk to your fellow man, you talk to the common person, and you show them that if they're Catholic or if they're Christian, that you, as a Muslim Moor, have the same ideals and standards that they have. So that you don't need to go into complex conversations and have arguments with people who you're trying to build with. You can just build with them based on the fact that their Pope told them such and such.
Right.
And if they don't agree with that, then that's not their Pope. And there's no need to waste your time. And basically, so my thing is that the Pope is, all those things that the Pope's doing, it opens the doors. You know what I mean? It opens the doors to build bridges with people who otherwise it would have been more difficult to build bridges with, because you'd have to sit there and talk about how, well, you know, Moors, we like sustainability and we like to help the planet, and they're going to tell you, yeah, but forget about the planet, Jesus is king and whatever. And well, the Popes put Jesus to the side and told them about sustainability. The Pope put Jesus to the side to tell them about indigenous rights. The Pope put Jesus to the side to tell them about women's rights, and so on and so forth. So now you don't need to, you know what I mean, waste your time with other arguments or religious arguments, because the Pope's not talking religious stuff to these people.
Exactly.
Every day he's coming up with something else that has to do with civics or just, you know, human interaction in general. So that's the power that the Pope is bringing for Moorish Americans, Moors in general. More importantly than anything that's so-called quote-unquote official.
Right. All right. So the second part of the question, what do you have in mind as far as pushing the upliftment of our people and selves? This is for both veterans and newcomers in the movement. So ideas as far as pushing the upliftment of our people. If we have the knowledge that we're not Negro, black, colored, then a big part of that is us being seen. You know what I mean? So, you know, we know that, for example, whether it's Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, whenever we have class, after class, if we're outside building, we got heads just staring at us, want to know who are those guys over there, what are those guys doing, what's that, what's this, what, you know, and people on the street passing by. Everybody that pass by, they look inside when they pass by, just because. What is that about? So us being seen. Doing humanitarian things. So let's just say you're a Moor that you wear your fez every day. Every day, you should be trying to do something that is going to make other people see the goodness about being a Moor. So you might, you know, play doorman, hold door for somebody. See somebody going downstairs, bag's too big, grab their bag for them, help them take their stuff. You know, somebody, you know, flat tire pulled over, help them change their tire. You know, if you're a Moor that works with young people, taking the young people in the community, do a garbage cleanup. You know what I mean? So go to the dollar store, spend $5, get some bags of garbage bags, some bags of gloves, get all these youth on your basketball team, soccer team, football team, or whatever like that. Find a community and you just go pick up garbage for 2 hours. And then you take pictures, you know what I mean? And then you post it online. This is what we did today to uplift fallen humanity, right? Like we're doing with the food drive, you know, next week Sunday. Conversation. If you hear, if a Moor, you know, you get this on Facebook a lot. Somebody sends out, makes their status, you know, I have a question for the Moors. Can I, whatever, blah, blah, they ask a question. You know what I mean? and then they got, 500 more is leaving comments about, answering their question. Be that one more that sends that individual a private message with a website where they could go and a book that they can read. Something tangible for them to take away from the conversation, to then use, whether it's in their life, somebody else's life, whatever, but at least they left with something tangible, opposed to just all these opinions from people with no reference points. You know what I mean? That get people even more lost, which is why we give people the email to answer questions, and we tell people don't put questions in the chat. You don't know who's on there. If you don't know who's on there, you can make up names, make up pages and all that stuff like that. You're asking questions of, that magnitude in online form, and you're probably gonna consider some stuff that's coming from there, but you don't know who that is. I don't know about all that. You know what I mean? Because the word is God, the word is energy. You ingest the wrong words and put them back out there, you might be calling demons and stuff like that. Don't even know that you're doing that. And then you're calling them, and then they're gonna latch on to you like Shutter. They're gonna be on you. Not gonna be terrorizing anybody else but you, because you called them. Right?
And isn't that what we do every day, especially this so-called indigenous people of the world?
Yeah.
They're constantly calling their own demons. Not
Text
even
their self.
realizing who did I just call and who is using.
That's their self.
And if you can't detect that, then I don't know, maybe you have alligator skin,
Yeah.
sensitive enough to realize something.
Something's sucking you. I know.
I was also thinking when I was listening to you in there, I think one of the things that we have, that I've seen as a sort of common trait here is I think we're looking at this as if this is sort of like an organization. This is a nation.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be uplifting a nation, right? I mean, I think they have that sort of very familiar phrase, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Yeah.
And what I see here is, we all come here every week, but like to me, I think you had mentioned this about, something that Shifter had said too, it's like we're grinding gears.
Yeah.
What are the next steps? We're still dealing with sort of like base stuff, like how I'm getting off on this charge, or how I can make some money, or whatever. To me, until we start, and I've mentioned this before, until we can start stepping up to that next level, and like the so-called Manchurian or the Japanese doesn't have an issue with knowing what to do. The events they have, their cultural events, are secondary to their nationality. Those are the manifestations of their nationality. They don't have a problem when they get together. They know about each other.
Right.
We're still stuck with this stuff, and what I can see is that we're still just worried about, which is part of the problem that has existed because we've been colonized. We're still trying to get out of the results of colonization, but we're not dealing with the other aspects of it, which are the actual upliftment part of us, which is really what it's going to take to get us there. Because what we do is we get out of some charge, and then we go back and buy a set of Nikes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, I implore us to then go back and look at this as our nation, and how are we going to come together? The Prophet also makes comments about us living together. You go to Chinatown, they're all living together there, eh?
Yeah.
They go into their neighborhoods and they're home.
Yeah.
Right? So those, to me, I think we spent enough time dealing with this part of it, and it's really about imploring us to start looking at the next parts, the next steps.
Well, even coming in this forum, as we're learning about the Prophet and all the more science and everything, as we learn, we turn around and we go back into our community, our lives. When I go to work, I teach people every and all things that I know. So what I do for myself and what I do for my family, I'm talking to them, I'm teaching them from what I know, researching the internet, getting books, dictionaries. So it might start small, but it is a start.
Well, yeah, and as I said, yeah, okay.
As long as we don't have like a television, like station where we could reach everybody at once, which is like far from that right now. The little bit that, this little temple, which is grassroots, but I see this growing. I mean, as soon as people start learning about themselves and their past and their bloodline, yeah, people are gonna come, and you're gonna get the bad ones that just want to make some money. You can't escape that. Not everybody is cut to the same cloth, but more or less, you're gonna reach the people that need to hear that information.
Do we really? I don't think if anyone has actually acknowledged. We don't, and I find this very difficult that when it comes to the prophet, we don't really know anything about him. We don't honor him, like unless you're talking about Jesus and Abraham and Adam and all these other guys. But I have never read anything that can be put in a pen the way the prophet has done. Because I have seen a lot of books from the Bible to the Islamic Holy Quran. Like, I have read, and when I'm reading, I read deep. But I don't think we really honor the prophet, and we don't even think that he was actually a prophet. And because since so-called religious people did not speak about him, or he wasn't televised on television, I think once you read with love and honor the prophet, then you'll be able to see the work he has done.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really need to go anywhere to actually acknowledge that. You can acknowledge that within yourself, and then you see the vibration. Because anything that he brought forward, I have never seen any other man. All these books that I read.
Well, they're trying to suppress that, right? They don't want this truth to come out.
Right.
Their whole society is based on their lives. So if Noel Jewel Ali comes with the information that's going to free everyone, the continent, the whole world is going to change.
And
Everything's going to change. The whole world is going to be shook up by this. It's designed to be discredited. You come up with the Mooralist, they say, oh, it's just a cult. Don't worry, it's just a cult. It's not going to last. It's just a cult.
Yeah, they've been saying that since 1930.
They will.
But did everything start as a cult? Like it started from a small room, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whether it was Jesus or whoever it was, it started from grassroots.
From nothing.
And that's where an cult. So I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Well, what I tell people is when they say, well, I never heard of him, how come I haven't heard of him then? I said, well, that's the reason why you haven't heard of him.
Yeah, sure.
Because we don't want the people to know. Because if it wasn't nothing important, then it'll be out there just like
like everything not important. Yeah.
So that should tell you, like, think.
Yeah.
Right? Because you haven't heard of him, that's why, and they're hiding it.
Yeah.
Right? That's why
And the
it's
fact
so
that
important.
he hasn't been heard of
Exactly.
should inspire people to go
Want to hear.
to hear more. You know what I
Malcolm
mean?
X.
And actually the
Malcolm X
image,
will come
sorry, also the image that they see and how he was dressed, the first thing that comes to them, oh, he wants to be Indian or Arabian,
Yeah.
like this, the dress code.
Yeah.
So now automatically, I don't know, they wanted him to dress like a Shaka Zulu. Or
Yeah, probably.
It's amazing. Like,
You need to have the pum pum shorts.
Something. I mean, it's
The
because
spear.
because the way he was dressed was a very moral, and they don't want nothing to do with morality.
That's right.
Yeah, comment back there, bro.
No,
Malcolm X
what I
was
was just
in?
about to say, when Malcolm went off into his travels and the world of the East opened up his eyes and say, well, we've been looking at America and we're seeing all the stuff that's going on. You are lost brothers. You know, you guys should know your birthright. That's a Mexican.
Yeah.
You know, when he came back and he was like talking to the press about taking all the violations that's happening in North America to the UN and charging the United States for all the violations, the human rights violation, that's what his life was basically
Yep.
That's when he put his life on the
Yeah.
line, and they were gonna take him out.
Yeah. To all Moors that want to exercise right to travel, what channels would a moralist go through so that he may travel without being bothered by highwaymen? And where? This one's for you. And where?
That's Wonder Woman's invisible plane.
And where? and where do we go to get Moorish plates?
Planes. You get more.
What channels would a moralist go through so that he may travel without being bothered? Since you dealt with dealing with people who are claiming to offer right to travel stuff, and then stuff going haywire from that, from you not being your own and trying to siphon off somebody else.
I think this connects
What
with
with regard to right to travel and Moors exercising that, like what
Well, I think this speaks to sort of your journey as well, which I think the first, I don't know who this Moor is. Is it a Moor? Probably.
Yeah. It's somebody. Well, it's somebody coming into the info. Let's put it like that.
Well, first of all, I think I would speak to your experience, which would, first of all, and this goes back to what I was saying initially, which is until we come together as a nation and have the backing of those national principles, the right to travel on an individual basis is there for all of us.
Right.
That right to get up and walk out of your house and do whatever is there, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
So the right to get in your mode of conveyance and travel down the road is there.
Right.
If you're looking for national protection, that would then come from being part of a nation.
Right.
Which would then come from all of those.
From supporting that nation. And,
supporting that nation, being involved in that nation,
Right.
doing all those things. So to me, that's where it starts.
Right.
First and foremost. And then secondly, like I just said, your right to travel is yours.
Yeah.
I can't give that to you, so go and exercise that.
Right.
Right. So if that is the question, then it's on you. If it comes beyond that, then the next step would be come to your Regency organize and let us start.
Yeah.
But then, as a warning or a caveat, I would say your first warning would be to be cautious of anyone looking to sell you
You're right.
your rights back to you
Yeah.
under the guise of something else.
Yeah.
So that would be then the warning to you about that anyone pretending or offering you a package or some kind of subheading to that, which is supposed to then separate you from
Right.
the
Yeah.
corporate thing, is just a replacing of one master for another.
Right. And what I was explaining to the brother too was that because with his situation, it's more so why don't they respect it as far as when you start doing it out there. So you study certain things, you research, you come to a conclusion, right? And the conclusion is, well, hey, I have the right to travel. Supreme Court backs it, UN whatever backs it, but then you go out here and exercise, and then you have people, violating these things that are supposed to be upheld by law, right? So this is where I was explaining that things that they do against us exercising our rights is not because we're doing something wrong, but it's because they have something to lose if they give us the pass. They have so much to lose. If they just openly let us exercise right to travel, no issues from any highwaymen, they're gonna have problems in a couple of years.
Well,
serious problems that they're not gonna know how to deal with.
And we've understood
You know
this,
what I mean?
that the very nature of stopping someone or controlling someone's passage is at the basis of all of this.
Right.
Right. So ultimately, too, it will be coming from a mindset, and if that is really your only concern,
Yeah.
then it really speaks to where you're at with this too.
Where your
because
mindset's at
really,
with
that's a manifestation of a greater thing, which is
Right.
being part of a nation.
Right.
Right. So, unfortunately, that's where, even what I was saying before this topic, which is that until people start coming in and seeing this from the perspective of you coming back home to your brothers and your sisters and to your ancient forefathers and foremothers, then all of this stuff is still sort of that peripheral stuff that that really is just looking for an advantage outside of wanting to pay.
Or Quran or whatever else for today. All right.
To sort of, and yet again to me seems to sort of speak a little bit of sort of trying to, well, not on one level it seems to speak to trying to sort of want to get out of something rather than looking about taking responsibility for something greater, and then the result of that being the benefits of nationhood.
Yeah, because we have to. I mean, when you have brothers and sisters, whether it's rental, their car, somebody else's car, whatever, and they're exercising right to travel, and they're not having any issues, right? Then, this can't be based on strictly some papers or some cards, and that's it. There has to be something more that's governing this.
It's what you know.
You know what I mean? There has to be something more governing
It's
this.
what you know.
And it comes down to where's your mind at when you start implementing these things. The first time you put down your nationality card for whatever, did you have any nigger tendencies that you didn't deal with?
Exactly.
If you did, more than likely, they're going to come out as soon as you put that card down. Right? Or something's going to happen to invoke those things that is going to, throw you off of you putting that card down. Have you doing things that you shouldn't really be doing, right? So, with right to travel, it's really that. It's a right, right to, you say that, if they charge people for blinking, what are they gonna do? They're saying $100 per blink.
Why do people like to ask? You can ask yourself before you ask anybody, and come up with your own answers and do the thing the way it's supposed to. Then asking somebody, how do I do?
But see, this is why. Like lots of times. I'm glad that you come, because you're coming from the perspective of you have a nationality already. You already know who you are. You already come from somewhere that you have lineage, history, whatever like that, and you've been testing yourself ever since you were a child or whatever to where you are now. So, for when you bring up things like that, like why would people ask questions about whatever instead of just studying it? When you hear that voice, it's coming from somebody who's already national. So they don't have the blockages of guessing, could I do this, can't I do this? You know what I mean? Do I have permission? Well, the Grand Sheik was supposed to, I didn't get hold of him for 2 weeks, so I don't know if I should, should I call Tesla and ask him, but I don't know, I never dealt with him before. And it's like, it's not really that serious.
I'm glad you brought that. I don't want to catch you. One old Jew man asked me about around 1995, where was this God when the Holocaust or the Jews were getting killed?
Yeah.
It's the same thing you're saying that, the Grand Sheik has to answer.
Yeah.
You got to ask every question. Why don't you answer that to yourself? Say, where was God? You think God needs to involve in every, what's up? What's really... So it's a very retarded question to say, the Grand Sheik. So you mean to tell me if you want to say hi to your own child, you have to say, Grand Sheik, can I... what kind of...
Yeah.
And then when are you going to take charge? Because you need to take charge of whatever is going on.
Right.
Because you're here now.
If it's your situation or whatever, yeah.
I'm talking about life itself in general. You're here, you're in charge. How are you giving somebody else your powers to be in charge? Now you're asking
over yourself.
It's very retarded. these people should be thrown in the jungle where at least they will learn from monkeys and
Yeah.
see how things. Yeah, an animal will show you how
yeah.
to child, how to parent, how to cross the river. How, like I don't understand. If an animal knows this,
Right.
you.
Yeah, regardless whether that's like I think it was a Kwame Ture speech where he was talking about if you take a dog and raise him up with monkeys, he's gonna come out to be a dog still. If you take whatever animal, raise him up with some other animals that's not it, it's still gonna be what it is. But you take the human species, you put them with monkeys, they're gonna be trying to do the vines or whatever. You put them with fish, they're gonna try breathe underwater, do all the stuff that they know that they can't do, right? But they keep doing these things that they know that they can't do, right? And they have to take responsibility for the fact that they can do certain things. They have to take ownership of the fact that we were given dominion over all the other stuff. How is it that the other stuff is having dominion over us that people are scooping dog doo right now?
And carrying the bag.
They carry the bag. They got the bag. Right? Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
When
Society and, you know what I mean?
When
People don't want to be stepping in doo. Yeah, but that's fertilizer. They're going to take the cow doo or whatever. That's fertilizer. No problem with that. You know what I mean? But the dog, the issues with that. Or cat, no, that's issues with that.
The dog and the cat and the animal
The one-
are close to nature. They're close to God. They know what it's all about.
They
And if
know.
a dog or a lion or whatever ain't been colonized, he's gonna know what to do all the time.
Yep.
We've been colonized.
Yep.
We've been taken away from nature. We've been taken away from the indwelling spirit. We've been taken away from God. We've been taken away from everything natural. And so now we're trying to find our way back.
Yeah.
You know, so you're absolutely correct. You know, you can see an animal and it knows any animal in nature, they don't get sick. I didn't know this until I had friends that had a dog that had cancer and a cat that had a tumor. But apparently they don't get them in the wild, in their natural habitat. They eat what they're supposed to eat. They sleep when they're supposed to sleep. They do what they're supposed to do according to
Dog
nature.
with cancer. That's
We
crazy.
don't, because we've been told, eat this, go here, get a license, do this, do that, and a third. And so we're completely off balance, completely off balance.
But one day the voice must come to you and say, hey, like.
Well, exactly, but it doesn't come to everybody at the same
but-
time.
but even if
you
the
know,
voice doesn't
or
come-
sometimes it doesn't come to somebody at all.
Yeah, but even if the voice doesn't.
But if you're dismissing it and it comes to you because constantly
Because
nature
you
is
don't
pumping.
trust it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
exactly,
trust.
you don't
No trust.
it. Even if you don't trust it, because of the internet now, there's so much information. Even if you don't want to read a book or study, listen to.
Yeah, you can
lectures.
get something.
But
You can't
this is
get
also-
Facebook will tell you a whole bunch
can't
of
get nothing.
information.
Yeah.
But
Can't get nothing.
internet and not knowing how to swim is a big problem because now it even gets worse now.
It's huge, and you can just get lost in it. With all
That's
kinds
why
of
it's called a
stuff
net.
that continues to take you off of where you're supposed to be, you know?
Don't get caught in the net.
Like,
Or get caught in the net.
well, this is exactly what's going on, and like up to now, this idea of
People just don't have excuses anymore.
because my 6-month-old baby right now, like, if she don't like how I'm maybe trying to kiss her or going at her at certain time, she just look aside and say, "But I don't like these things, man." And you can see, I try.
Yeah.
Say, yo, this is not the time, so I'm busy right now. I'm saying, look,
Because she's natural. She
That's
hasn't
why I
been
don't-
indoctrinated in yet.
that's why I'm trying to give her
There you
all
go.
the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's rebellion, but rebellion is the best thing
Yeah.
because then if what you're going up against is totally negative, it's better to rebel than just to go along with it.
That's
Straight.
right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
rebellion is actually good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
Straight.
like I don't know why people don't want to rebel against this system that's just,
Like-
but they're quick to rebel against someone who's trying to guide them.
Yeah.
Like Kujo say, it's fear. There's just so much fear in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even with the census that they brought out now,
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of.
there, no, well,
It's a lot of.
there's a question they have on it.
But who is to fear?
You can check it off if you want. It's an option anyways. They said, do you want us to keep your information for the next 92 years for your family?
Yeah.
So I'm like, does that even make no sense? 92 years?
Yeah,
92 years.
Mark off what? But the sentence, when the sentence comes to your so-called address, right? What name's on it?
I don't know. I don't follow.
There isn't any.
Yeah, there's no, yeah,
So
there was
why
no
are you
name.
answering to it?
There was no
Well,
name
that's
on the
what I
ones
was
this
telling
year.
my-
So it can't be, what law is that?
Exactly.
It doesn't come to a name.
Yeah,
It's a number.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I was telling my people.
Then don't
I'm
answer.
like,
Unless
just
your-
look at
unless your
that
name is
answer
a number.
alone. Just look at that answer. Just look at that question they asked you. This is why you should have filled out, because that is so stupid.
But before you even,
Why would you
before you even
want
open it.
to give them permission to keep your information?
What I'm saying, before you even open it.
92 years.
And when it comes to your so-called address, what name is on it?
But people
Doesn't even have no corporate name on it.
Yeah.
So put it right back where it came
Yeah,
from.
but people are in fear because they say,
Who's
you
in
go to
fear?
jail for
Who's
it.
gonna go to jail?
That's why.
What's the name on the paper that's coming
No,
to?
I know that.
So who's gonna go to jail?
Actually, somebody asked me 2 days ago, they sent me 2 different forms of the same thing, but
Yeah.
one is kind of small and one is big. So I'm saying, what are these things? I look, saying maybe this belongs to the tax man, maybe I should send it to the IRS because the way it looks.
Yeah.
So I just put it on the
Put
side.
aside.
Yeah, and like, I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't answer to nobody. If anything, I answer to myself. Fear. The only thing you should fear is yourself.
Yeah.
Because I can get up right now and kill you. So you see, I should fear myself, what I'm able and capable of doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing else to fear after that. But if you fear outside, then you got a
Yeah,
big
you got
problem.
problem inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inside you got issues.
That's where you can't stay in.
About the census.
Yeah.
Last year, census wasn't filled out where I was staying, so some guy comes, knocks the door, puts his badge to the door to the people.
Yeah, yeah.
And my girls got scared. She's like, "My God!" I said, "Don't worry about it." I opened the door. I said, "Yeah, can I help you?" He's like, "Yeah, you guys didn't fill out your census." I said, "Who didn't?"
You guys.
He's like, "Well, you said we didn't fill out the census. So who didn't fill it out?"
Yeah.
He has no information.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, well, if you don't do this, my supervisor's gonna come and you're gonna be charged. I said, well, you go bring your supervisor here.
Yeah.
Tell him
I
now
got the
he's
same
gonna
question for you.
Tell him now he's gonna come in.
Got the
Well,
same
you
question
know,
for
you're
you.
right. Thank you.
It's just a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you guys jump, when they
Yeah,
say
once you
jump,
jump.
too
Yeah,
bad.
that's what most people, because of the fear.
If they, like I said, if your title or your name, so-called corporate name was on it, then you might have
Then that's
a
different.
little legit.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so
If,
simple.
There's nobody's names on it.
Yeah.
if
It's
I'm
coming to your
already-
address. So if you move, it's still coming there.
Well, it's the indoctrination
Come on.
of fear. People are just so fearful.
We got a couple more comments and then we'll close out. 3 weeks ago, I approached the Human Resources Director, a European, at my job in order to inform them that I'm currently proclaiming my nationality, that things will change on my personal life, but all this without bugging the co-workers. First thing she told me was, okay, we'll let you know. Well, you know, the only thing that we will change is that you will be exempt from taxes. And good luck with your process. That's from the quote-unquote job.
Because everybody knows now too.
Right? Yeah.
The energy's strong.
Yeah, the energy is picking up.
Yeah, can't deny it.
So, you know, and again, you know, that's you're exercising based on what you know. If you don't know, you probably don't want to exercise. You know, you want to know. You want to be sure in your mind that yes, this is what it is. Just like I was telling the brother with his writs, that he's writing writs. Yeah, I could review him. You know what I mean? I could send it to Taj, he could look at it. I could send it to Seton, or I could send it to all these Moors all over the place who got court cases and all that stuff. But if you yourself don't feel comfortable with that, what we say,
Simple as that.
it's going to mean nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your energy that you put behind that pen is what's gonna make that writ work or not work. Not who edited it and stuff they added to it or whatever, because guarantee you whoever edited it, they're not signing it. And if their signature is not on it, then that has no effect on them. It's all gonna be on the person who puts down their signature. And that individual who puts down their signature better be in tune with every line that's written on that page. Because one line off, then the whole writ's gonna be off.
So that means you're in conflict with yourself.
Exactly.
And conflict is the whole issue.
Exactly. Any closing comments or anything else? Questions?
Oh God, question.
With the spiritual, you know, some of it comes from
It never ended, man.
coming from our parents.
Yeah.
This fear
Oh, yeah.
starts from there.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
morning, my little one, I heard him like whining, you know, some issues with his mom. I called him when he come over. I said, "What's going on?" She said she's gonna call my teacher. I said, "Good, call him. Tell her to call him quick, because we have a problem. So we could discuss it with you, teacher, and her, you
Yeah.
know, we discuss it.
Yeah,
So tell her, go ahead, call teacher, don't be afraid."
Yeah.
When she tell you she's gonna call teacher, say, "Good, mommy, because teacher know more than you, call her." And it's over. Like, I said, don't be afraid of nothing. And don't be afraid of your teacher you're going there tomorrow. Don't be afraid of her. Whatever it is, you go straight, go ask her tomorrow if there's a problem. But mom now is doing it in a way to make him be afraid.
Yeah. That's that. You know, that's slave mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's slave mentality.
When you want to call teacher, good, mommy.
Get little man to.
Because she might help me to do this match today if it's a problem. My son, call her.
I actually told my 8-year-old son to tell the teacher to fuck off. And then he said, "I'm not going to get in trouble." I said, no, go and tell them.
Yeah.
Because he spoke about why are your tooth kind of crooked, you need to...
Get
You
braces.
know that.
What?
Yeah, exactly. And so came next day saying, "Yeah, teacher was saying something like this." I said, "Teacher in school say this, yeah." I said, "Tomorrow when you go and he asks you anything, just tell him straight, fuck off." He goes, "What?" Yes, tell him to
You can't
fuck
say
off.
that. You're supposed to go to the, you can't say
No,
that.
no. I'm empowering the child. No, they'll have to call me. That's what I want, to be
That's
called
not
in.
empowering.
Yeah.
And when I was called in, I said, yes, I told him, I gave him the permission. Absolutely, I didn't send my child here for you to talk about
Yeah, and this
his
other
physical.
stuff. Yeah.
You're here, just teach whatever you're teaching.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and said, "What? We're gonna get you guys." I said, "What? Expel who?" I said, "I will take the child right now. You don't even need to expel him. I'll take him home."
Straight.
And then the principal calls me and I said, "Listen, I don't want to hear these things. If you're not teaching what you're supposed to teach, don't tell my child anything about his own personal issues."
Yeah.
Because when you start negotiating, and this is the problem.
Yes. No, straight up.
No, there's no room for that.
Straight.
And that's why we always tell, I even told some of my children, "Listen, if you're not, if the teacher is saying you're not doing really in this," I said, "Your intelligence is not something to be measured with this class business. So don't think of yourself
Yeah.
that you didn't do math or you didn't do this."
Good, because teacher said.
I said, listen, no, this is just...
You can make a bank
yeah,
shot.
I said, no,
Don't worry.
I said you need to socialize.
That's trigonometry.
Yeah, like, don't... So, we actually destroying these children by telling them, "Oh, you see what, you can't do this, oh, the teacher, oh, you're dumb." And black people are quick to tell people, "Oh, you're dumb." Meanwhile, where did the dumbness come from?
Yeah.
Home. Why didn't you teach me home? It says homework, not schoolwork. So who is the dumb now?
Yeah.
That's right. Don't call me dumb, mommy, unless you are dumb.
Yeah.
Straight.
Otherwise, let's teach each other and let's be quiet about it.
Simple.
Straight up. Islam. So next week. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you want to talk about next week? And
Yeah. Next week, Saturday. Next week, Saturday during the day, we're gonna be at Downsview Park for the Indigenous Festival thing going on.
Cool.
So we're just gonna go. I'm believing it's one of those all day vibes, so it probably starts 10, 11 or something like that.
Maybe what we should do though is we should check into that.
Yeah, we'll send an email out
Get
before the
updates,
week.
And then
Yeah,
we
before the
probably
week's
gonna
out.
try and maybe have a meet spot.
Yeah.
Like a sort of like a
Yeah,
impromptu or a
somewhere where we
loose
just-
meet spot
yeah, where we meet
beforehand,
up.
so we can maybe
Yeah,
walk or sort of at least sort of come together as a group
yeah, yeah.
beforehand, sort of thing. And I guess if not, then you can just make.
Then you
your
can
own
just
meet.
make your way there or whatever. But we'll be there for a few hours trying to build with these natives up there. See if we can get a hold with. And then after that, we're gonna be at Grand Ravine Community Center, 350. It was 350. 350 Grand Ravine, Oakdale Community Center. 350 Grand Ravine, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the Unity Summit.
What's that, in Scarborough or?
No, West End.
Finch there.
West End,
Yeah.
Finch and Jane and Finch area.
Jane and Finch, okay.
Yeah. We put the call out to the conscious community in Toronto to find out from them why they're not proclaiming their nationality. So we sent the email out to some Black Lives Matter people. Nuwapians got back to us. Nation of Gods and Earths got back to us. Emailed Nation of Islam today.
Who else? A couple others. Right?
Few others. Rastafarians got back to us. Didn't hear from Black Power people. Didn't hear from Hebrew Israelites. Didn't hear from any of the student groups at York, UFT, or Ryerson or whatever. But our thing is, we put it out there. Don't say that you weren't, invited. Don't say that you weren't called to give your perspective so we can understand, so we can try to assist our people. Because like we're saying, Brother Shifta and Omar, our thing right now is it's time for us to start doing for ourselves as far as Moors, not really catering to other people what they want, what they need, whatever. They're on their own. We have our own stuff that we need to do, and we're about to start doing what we need to do for ourselves out here.
But it's not like we're not going to at least try and put out
But
the call to the rest of them to come and they can't say that we didn't.
Yeah.
That we didn't.
Right.
Final call.
Yeah.
So wait, you're saying that? So you're saying that that's at 6, right?
Yeah, that's at 6 p.m.
So I would say for that one too, we're probably looking to try and get there probably for about 5:15, 5:30.
Yeah, 5:15, 5:30, just to be there.
No, not this. That's not the Downsview one. This is the Oak.
Yeah, Oakdale Community Center. Yeah, same day. Yeah.
And Downsview Park is not that far away.
Yeah. So the idea is that we all go to the Aboriginal thing, do our little chill there with the natives for some hours, and then after that we head down to we just do a little carpool or whatever like that, and we head down to Grand Ravine.
Cool.
All right.
Sunday.
And then Sunday is Feed the Hungry, which is the meeting spot is Dundas Square at 4:30.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Dundas Square 4:30 next week Sunday. Assisting with the Feed the Hungry campaign. This is their 20th Feed the Hungry.
Should we bring stuff?
Oh yeah, feel free to bring whatever you want to give out. Just remember, whatever you bring, you're carrying it. So, because some people like to bring their stuff and yeah, here's my donation, and then they go and leave 50 bags for everybody else to carry. So make sure whatever you bring, you're carrying it. Right? Food, clothes, toiletries, whatever you think homeless people need, just fill up your bag, cart, whatever it is that you're gonna be lugging, and come down and let's do some missionary work. And also too, we're asking all the people with turbans, fezzes, etc. Make sure that you're on deck for that day. Full regalia. Get the hood, and stuff like that. Get everything. We're going all out that day. And as well for Saturday too, full regalia. Bring out all your stones and all your witchcraft stuff. You know, get the witch bag, the little dust stuff that you like to do and stuff like that. Bring all that stuff. 'Cause should be a good weekend coming up.
And that, on June 21st, for the summer solstice, I guess the weekend, whichever weekend is closest to that, we're planning to have a meet where we had our Spring Forward event. There was a trail that runs along, it's in Hamilton, it's about an hour walk. And we figured that we would go back out there, because I went back out there with my Empress, and there's there's just seemed to me that this sort of path and this walk which connects to this waterway seemed to be when we did some research that there were some of our indigenous brothers who obviously they were there before the European came, but there was this walk that sort of encompasses a lookout point and a couple of waterfalls, and we plan to have an event there on the summer solstice if it happens on that day on the weekend, or the closest weekend to it. Hopefully we'll all meet out there and we'll go on this walk as sort of another sort of more culture club event. And more details will be forthcoming.
All right.
Also, there's a web-based conference platform that we've been using to have meetings. So what we're going to do is start using that same platform to do study sessions. So we'll study different topics. We're going to start with the foundation of basic information, as well as astrological information. Then we're going to go from there and kind of break down things that we study both in class and things that are just on people's minds, things that are relevant. So that'll be, almost like every week. Maybe probably Friday or Saturday, but it might switch up. We might switch up the dates a weekday, or add a day here and there. So that I'll just send that on the email, and then there's just a number that you call in. You can just call in, and you're on the line. So because it's a web-based thing, you can go on your computer too. You can call it through your computer. You can just call it through your phone.
And just one more thing, I don't know if you all know that Mercury was in transit this last couple weeks ago. You know that, right?
Got it.
Huh?
Got it good too.
Right, well, yeah, me too.
Got it good
and
too.
It happens once every 10 years, and I've been doing some of my astrology and astronomy and sort of studying, and this year there are going to be 4 different times when Mercury is going to be in retrograde, which in the last 4 years, I've never seen it happen 4 times, and during this 4th time was this Mercury in retrograde just passed. So I think that things are astronomically and astrologically coming into line, right? And they talk about 2016 being another one of those points. Right? They talked about 2012, but I think we also know that a lot of the times the dates that they give us have also been sort of smudged to sort of take you offline, right? So just to let you know that because the cosmos are matching up with this now.
Does that not add up to
Sorry?
360 degree, 216, the 9?
Sorry, say that again?
2016. Isn't that adding up to number 9?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but as I said, the last 4 years I've been studying the retrograde of Mercury, and it's always only happened 3 times a year. This is the first year I've seen it happening 4 times, and as I said, this time it's in retrograde right now.
Yeah.
And it was just in transit right now, which means that Mercury is between the sun and us.
Yeah.
And if you do your studying and your knowledge on what Mercury represents to us, which is the planet of communication,
360 degree.
Yeah.
stuff is on.
It's done. So with that, Islam to all the Moors. Don't forget nothing next week. We're gonna be live next week, but we should have some video of everything from next weekend uploaded.
Oh yeah, I think
sometime
that's
in
something
the
too. I think that what we're gonna start doing is hopefully for all of these events, we'll set times before to meet, where maybe we can have a photo
Yeah.
happen so that we can start
Right.
building up.
Documenting
What we're
all
gonna start
that.
hopefully doing is having a, what do you call it, an archive of our nation building and growing, right?
Right.
And soon we'll have one of the whole world with us, right?
Straight up. So we'll just close out with the prayer. Face the east. Feet at a 45-degree angle. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my guide.
Allah is my guide.
My protector.
My protector.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
To his holy prophet.
To his holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
Islam.
Ashe.
Wonderful class as
Thank you
usual.
much. Thank
Always
you.
wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, and happy belated birthday.
Oh, it's alright.
I thought about you that day, and I ran into Abdullah.
Yeah.